Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to our Stretch and Strengthen series. This is our last session of the series. Yes. I think we might have a couple of new folks joining us today. If you are new and you're joining us, this is our last class for the series. But if you would like to look at the recordings of our previous classes in the series, you're welcome to have a look on our YouTube channel, which is Parkinson Society BC, all in one word. If you're not sure where to find that, you can always send us an email, which I've just put in the chat box here, info@parkinson.bc.ca. And we'd be happy to send you the link if you would like to have a look at the recording. So just like our previous weeks, our class is going to start in a seated position, and then we're going to move to a supported standing position. So when I say supported standing, I mean as in we're standing up, but we're holding on to something. So either a chair, a table, a wall, so something sturdy that you can hold on to, just help you with your balance a little bit. But of course, by all means, if you wanted to stand without holding on to anything, you're welcome to do that as well. Today's class, because it is our Stretch and Strengthen class, it will be slower pace and lower intensity. So you'll find that the class has lots of time for you to have breaks, and we're doing lots of movement, but relatively low intensity. So if you are someone who is hoping for a higher intensity class, you can look at our class that's coming up in September, which is our September Challenger, which will be similar to our April Challenger, and it will be a bit more fast-paced, and it will be a fully standing class. Before we get started, I do also want to remind everybody that our Parkinson Super Walk is coming up the weekend of September the 11th. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about our Super Walk event, you're welcome to look on our website, which would be www.parkinson.bc.ca/Super Walk. So you can have a look on the website if you would like to have a look at the Super Walk event, and also keep an eye out for our future class offerings in the fall and in the winter time as well. So you can have a look on our website and sign up for more exercise programs through the website. Okay. Yes, I see your comment there, Neil. Hi, I hope the fires are doing okay. I know it's getting a bit cooler here where I am, at least in the Lower Mainland. So fingers crossed with some rain, because I think our trees and our forests really need it right now. So that would be really good if we get a true BC fall weather, I suppose. Okay, well, let's get started. I can see that there are still a couple of people trickling in from the waiting room, but that's okay. We'll get started. And then folks who are joining us late can just join us. I hope there weren't too many technical difficulties with logging into the platform today. And I hope you can see me and hear me okay. If you did want to ask me any questions or talk to me during the class, you're welcome to type in the chat box, and I will come forward and have a read. I won't be able to answer super quickly because I will be moving with you and I won't be able to see the screen too closely, but I will move forward and read the questions every now and then. But of course, you're also welcome to raise your hand, and then in which case I can always unmute your microphones, and you can always ask the question rather than type if you prefer to ask instead of type. Okay, let's get started. Let me move backwards. So we're starting in our chair as always. And before we get started today, I want to remind you that when we are in our chair, we want to be sitting forward in our chair. So we don't want to be slouching backwards like this, because then we don't have a lot of room for those legs to move. But if we shuffle our bottoms forward all the way to the front and you place your feet flat onto the floor, you should be able to move those legs a little bit better. I'm just going to actually move my chair back slightly. Okay, so starting forward at the very front of our chair, sitting up tall on our sit bones, reaching our crown of the head to the ceiling, we're going to float those arms up in front of us like so and bring the palms of the hands together. From here, really gently, we're going to sit up nice and tall, and we're going to open one arm out to the back like this, and you're turning so that you're looking at the back arm and bringing it back in Same to the other side, opening the arm to the back wall, keeping the feet planted on the floor and back in. And same thing again, opening the arm to the back wall and then bringing it in. Couple more times, opening the arm to the back wall and bring it back in. So as we're doing this rotation here, you want to really think about reaching those fingers to the back wall, but also you're sitting up as tall as you can. So you want to really avoid slouching on the spot. We want to sit up nice and tall, twisting our body all the way around. Crown of the head reaching the ceiling here. Let's do 2 more. Making sure we're breathing here, feet planted firmly onto the floor. 1 last one. And then we're lowering the arms down. We're going to extend one of our legs out in front of us, heel on the floor, knee straight. We're going to take our opposite arm to leg and we're going to circle it forward and back like so. So as you're circling the arm, you're going to be leaning your chest forward, almost like you're trying to get as close to that foot as you can. And you should feel that there's a stretch at the back of the thigh here of that extended leg. A little bit of a dynamic hamstring stretch for you here. Making sure every time you sit back up, we're sitting nice and tall. And just be a little bit careful here. If you're sitting in a chair with armrest, try not to hit the arm on the armrest. So you want to just maybe circle the arms a little bit wider away from the armrest. Don't want anyone injuring themselves here. See if you can get a little lower with each repetition here. Now, if anything I'm doing in this class feels a little too fast for you, that's okay, don't worry. You're welcome to slow things down as long as the technique of the movement is still the same. Let's do one last one here. And relax the leg. Okay, still sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head reaching for the ceiling. We're gonna float both of our arms up to the side like so. And what we're gonna do here is we're going to tip ourselves down to one side like this. So noticing here that I'm bringing my shoulder towards my hip. So I'm not just doing this with the arms, right? But I want the entire body to actually lean down to the side, shoulder towards the hip here. Holding the stretch you should feel on the side of your trunk here. We're gonna circle the top arm twice. And then we're gonna come back up to the middle, sitting up nice and tall still. We're gonna tip over to the other side. So remember, not just the arms, for the entire body. And then from here, we're circling the top arm twice again. And coming back up, drop the arms for a second. We're gonna do that again. Float the arms back up, opening the chest. We're gonna tip down to the side so you feel that stretch on the outside of your body. Imagine the shoulder coming towards the hip. And then we're gonna circle the arm. And one more. Coming back up to the other side, sitting up nice and tall still. We're tipping over such that the shoulder is coming towards the hip. Holding the stretch here, circling the top arm twice. And coming back up to the middle, drop the arms. Still sitting up nice and tall. We're gonna take our hand and we're gonna reach it to the outside of our opposite knee. And then the other hand is gonna grab around the back of the chair, sitting up tall. Using your arms, you're gonna pull yourself around into this rotational stretch such that you're looking at the back wall. And as you're holding the stretch here, you're checking in with yourself to make sure that we're not slouching down, but we're trying to sit up nice and tall, reaching the crown of the head to the ceiling. And coming back to the middle. Same to the other side. Take your hand, reach the outside of the opposite knee. Then the other hand is gonna wrap around the back of the chair, sitting up tall, and twist yourself all the way around such that you're looking at the back wall and you're still sitting up nice and tall, trying to reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. And return back to the middle. We're doing one more each side. Same thing. Hand to the outside of the opposite knee. Then the other hand grabs around the back of the chair. Using your arms, twist yourself all the way around. See if you can twist even more than the first time you did this on the side. Sitting up tall. Nicely done. Return back to the middle. Last time, the other side, take your hand, reach the outside of the opposite knee. Then the other hand is going to wrap around the back of the chair, and you're going to twist yourself around. Use those arms to pull you around. Sitting up tall, look at the back wall, breastbone trying to reach it towards the back wall as well. Nicely done. And we're returning back to the middle. From here, we're going to shuffle back a tiny bit, just so we're in the middle of the chair, but we're not leaning all the way back in the chair. We're going to float those arms out to the side. From here, we're going to take one of our legs and we're going to straighten the knee to show me the bottom of your foot. And at the same time, you're rotating around, so your opposite hand is reaching towards the foot here. And then we're returning back to the middle, same to the other side. Extending the legs, you're straightening the knee, showing the bottom of your foot. So we don't want the foot to be on the floor. We want it to be lifting up and then back again. So you're basically twisting around so that the opposite hand is reaching towards the foot and then returning to the middle. And as you're twisting around, you're trying not to lean back into the chair. You want to still keep your weight on top of those sit bones here. Shoulders away from the ears. So not like this. Shoulders away from the ears. Slide those shoulder blades down the back. Good. Let's do 6 more here. 6. 5, sitting up nice and tall. 4. 3, 2, last one, and drop the arms. We're going to start marching on the spot here. We're lifting up those knees nice and high, and we're swinging the arms. If you find it very difficult to lift your legs, you might want to shuffle forwards a little bit more, because it might mean that we're sitting a little too far back and our hips are getting a bit stuck. So shuffle to the front of your seat, sit up nice and tall, and we're gonna march on the spot, lifting those knees nice and high, and you're swinging the opposite arm to leg as we're marching here. And now what you'll notice is as I'm marching, my arms are going backwards just as much as they're going forward. So keep going. I'm going to turn sideways for a second. So if you have a look at me marching, can you see that my arms are going back just as much as they're going forward? So I'm not just doing this, but I'm swinging the arms back behind me as well, not just forward. Okay, keep going. I'm just going to turn back around. Lifting the chest up nice and high, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling, marching on the spot, lifting those knees as high as you can, swinging those arms. Good. Now we're going to keep this marching pattern going, but we're going to drop the arms for a second. So we're going to keep marching, but we're dropping the arms for a little bit of a coordination challenge here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our arms and we're going to circle the arm backwards. So you're circling the arm back in a circle as you're marching. And then when you're ready, you're going to take your other arm and you're going to circle it in the opposite direction. So one arm is circling forward, one arm is circling backwards. And even though the arms are going in opposite directions, they should reach the bottom at the same time and reach the top at the same time. So keep going. I'm going to turn sideways for a second. Keep going. So you can see here that my arms are moving in opposite directions. They're circling in opposite directions. One arm is going back while one arm is going forward, but they reach the bottom together and they reach the top together, right? So that's what we're aiming for here. Keep going. I'm going to turn back around. Keep going, keep going. So you might want to slow down the arms a little here if you find it pretty tough to keep the pattern going. But hopefully you're still marching those legs on the spot as well. We're not just swinging the arms now. We want the legs to also work. Let's do one more here. And then rest the arms, keep the legs going. Now, our other arm is going to circle backwards now. So whichever arm you didn't start with first is going to now circle backwards. Sitting up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, your other arm is going to swing in the opposite direction. So same as before, we're just switching directions here. So my left arm is now going backwards and my right arm is now going forwards. So same as before, keep marching on the spot. Sitting up tall, circling the arms in opposite directions. Just be a little careful if you are sitting in a chair with arm rests. You don't want to hit your arms, so you might want to swing a little wider so you avoid hitting your elbows on the armrest. Good, nicely done. One arm going forward, one arm going back. Let the arms reach the bottom at the same time and reach the top at the same time. Two more here. One more. And rest. Okay, from here, let me turn sideways. We're going to now shuffle ourselves back in the chair. So we were sitting forward like this, and we're now going to shuffle ourselves all the way back, and you're gonna lean into the backrest of the chair. So you can see here, I'm leaning back into the chair. Now, from here, you're gonna take your arms and you're gonna place them behind your head, open those elbows out to the side. So don't let the elbows come forward. You wanna open the elbows out to the side, opening the chest. Now, from here, you're going to lean back into the chair so that you're looking at the ceiling, and you should feel a nice stretch across the back and also the chest. Just be a little careful here that you're not going to fall backwards in the chair. We don't want anyone falling, so just be a bit careful as you lean back up and over the chair. And then we're coming back, dropping the arms for a second, and then we're going to do it again. Hands behind the head, opening the arms out to the side, and then you're leaning all the way back as far as you can. Without the chair tipping, you're looking at the ceiling. And then you're coming back and dropping the arms. One last time. Arms out to the side, open those elbows, and we're gonna lean back. Look at the ceiling, open the chest, open the upper back, and return back to the middle, sitting up nice and tall again. Okay, now we're gonna move into our standing position, but like always, you're welcome to stay seated for the entire class if you like, or you're welcome to stand up with us. So if you wanna stay seated for the rest of the class, this is the exercise that you're now doing. You're gonna shuffle your bottom forward to the edge of the seat, so no leaning back, sitting forward right on those sit bones. Bring those feet back so that your weight is going to be right over your feet. And what you're gonna do here is you're leaning your chest forward, almost like you're about to look at the floor in front of your feet. And you're gonna bring your weight forward even more so that your weight is entirely over your base of support. Then you're gonna sit back down. So we don't want to be doing this. We're leaning back and lifting our butts up, or you don't wanna be pulling your bottom up, but you want to be relying on these legs. You're leaning forward to bring your weight over your legs like this, and then you're sitting back down. So you should be distributing your weight over your feet so well that if you were to take your arms off, you wouldn't fall back all of a sudden or fall forward. So we want to practice balancing our center of gravity over our base of support, aka our feet, and then sitting back down. Okay, so that's the version you can do. You can do the bottom hover if you want to stay seated for the entire class. If you want to stand up for the last half of the class, what you're going to do here is exactly the same. You're bringing your weight forward over your feet, but then you're going to push the floor away from you as hard as you can. And you're going to stand all the way up, keeping your weight over your feet. So we're not pulling with our arms to stand up. And the same thing here, bending the knee, sticking the bottom back, and have a sit down. Okay, let me show you that again. Leaning your chest forward such that your weight is now over your feet, over your base of support. Then you push the floor away from you as hard as you can to stand up, keeping your weight over your feet. And then we're bending and sitting back down. So we don't want to see this, pulling ourselves up, right? And we also don't want this momentum swing up, but you want to practice keeping your weight over your feet. Go as slow as you can. The slower, the better. So hopefully you're already joining me. If you haven't started, please join me here. Choose the version you want to do, either the full stand and sitting down. We're going to keep repeating that. Or if you want to stay seated for the rest of the class, you can just do the butt lifts, but you're trying to make sure we're not putting all of our weight in our arms. You want to put the weight in your feet. So the arms are here for balance, but if you were to take your arms off, you wouldn't fall anywhere, okay? So that's kind of the idea. So either the bottom hovers and then sit down, or the full version, if you'd like, bring your weight over your feet, pushing the floor away from you as hard as you can to stand up. Hopefully you started. I don't think I see any questions on the chat box and where I am, so that's good. Everyone's working hard, I hope. Keep going. Remember, when you're doing this, the slower the better, because if you're doing it really fast, the likelihood of you using momentum is probably quite high. So you want to go nice and slow and just challenge yourself and see if you can actually bring your weight over your base of support, and then using the legs to help you stand up if you're doing the standing version. And feel free to do this in your own time as well. You don't necessarily have to match my speed. And by all means, if you're really good at this and you've done this for a while, you're welcome to do the sit to stand much faster as well, as long as you're not going to use momentum to swing yourself up from the chair. Because the whole idea of this slow sit to stand is to practice keeping your weight or your center of gravity over your feet, over your base of support. Nicely done. How we doing? So remember, if you're not doing the standing version, you're just lifting the bottom and lowering it down, as long as you're keeping your weight over your base of support, right? So we don't want to be doing this. We want to bring our chest forward such that you're looking at the floor in front of your feet and sitting back down. So again, if you are doing the seated version, you're also trying to go nice and slow so that you're not using momentum to kind of swing yourself up off the chair. We want to practice placing our weight over our feet. So you almost want to imagine increasing the pressure of your feet on the floor as you're doing this. How are you doing? Hopefully good. Let's do 5 more in our own time. So no matter which version you're doing or where you are, you're going to do 5 in your own time. And if you are doing the standing version, on your last one, your last stand, you're going to stay standing. If you're doing the bottom lifts for the seated version, you're just going to do 5 in your own time and sit back down. How are we doing? I've got 2 more here. So remember, you're trying to keep your weight over your base of support at all times. I've got 1 more here. And I'm going to stay standing for the last one. Okay. So when you're finished, you're going to join me here. If you are doing the standing version, you can stand up. If you're doing the seated version, stay seated, and I will show you the modification in a moment. We're going to start with our feet together, or as close together as you feel comfortable. If you can't put your feet together, absolutely fine. Bring them a little bit more narrow than your hip width apart. And then from here, here's what our legs are doing. So you're holding onto a chair or a table or whatever it is that you have at home, because it's a supported standing class. But by all means, if you don't want to hold on, that's okay as well. I will show you both versions. Okay, feet together. The feet, you're going to step out and you're going to squat down. So when you're squatting, you're sticking your bottom back, almost like you're about to sit down in the chair again. Stepping out to the side, squat down, then come back in. Same to the other side, stepping out, squatting down, sticking your bottom back, and come back in. So when we're doing our squats, we're not doing this, right? We're not tucking our hips forward, but we're sticking the bottom back, okay? So supported standing version, you're squatting, and as you squat, you're gonna take your arm and reach out to the side, opening the hand, opening the fingers, and then come back in. Same to the other side, reach out to the side as you squat back down. So this is the supported standing version, like this. Or if you don't want to hold on, you're welcome to reach the arms out, bring them in. Reach the arms out, bring them in. So this version, same thing, just with both arms if you're not holding on. If you are sitting, sit at the very front of your seat, legs together as well. And then you're going to step out to the side and reach both arms out, opening the palm. See how my foot is going out further than the chair. So we don't want to be like this. Doesn't count. We got to step out as far as we can, really open the hip and then come back in. Same to the other side. Step out, reach the arms as wide as you can, reach the leg out as far as you can, come back in, sitting up tall at all times, and back in. Reach out and back in. Okay, so choose your version. Hopefully you've already started and you're already joining me. So you're either doing this version in sitting or in standing. If you like to hold on, you have one arm reaching out to the side. Or if you don't want to hold on to anything, both arms reaching out to the side. Like that. Okay, keep going. I think there's a comment. Let me just see here. Oh, my screen was freezing. Let me just quickly double check. The internet looks to be full bars. I wonder if it might just have been a little bit of a glitch. If it happens again, let me know, okay? Okay, keep going. No matter where you are, keep going. So if you are doing the standing version, as your legs go down into the squat, I want you to try to keep your chest up as much as you can. You will lean forward a little bit, but what I don't want to see is this. We don't want the chest going all the way down. We want to keep it up as much as we can. So if you're doing the supported standing version, you're only using one arm, same thing. And of course, you don't need to do this as fast as me, but I really want to challenge you, no matter what version you're doing, to step out as far as you can. Because if you're like this, doesn't really count because you haven't really gone anywhere. So you want to imagine, you want your body to be moving from side to side. So you want to move so far, step out so far that your body actually shifts over, right? Because if we're only stepping here, see how my breastbone didn't really move other than up and down. It's not really moving. So we want it to move to either side of the chair, right? So you want to be on either side of the chair every time. Yeah. Good, nicely done. Now again, keep going. If you're sitting down, like that.
So no matter what version you're doing, keep it going. Keep reaching those fingertips. Reach that foot out as far as you can. If you're sitting up nice and tall. If you're standing, you're trying to keep that chest up as much as you can. Nicely done. Let's do 4 more here. We go 4, 3, 2, last one, and rest. Okay. I'm going to come back up to standing so I can show you the standing version again. So our next exercise, we're going to start with the legs nice and wide. So we want the legs to be on either side of the chair if you can. I'll show you the seated version in a second. What you're going to do here is you're going to take one of your hands and you're going to punch. So you're going to make a fist. You're going to punch down towards the opposite ankle. And then the other hand is going to punch up on a diagonal. So you're punching with the 2 different arms, so they're both going to the opposite side on a diagonal, opposite side on the diagonal. So if you're holding on, you can punch one arm at a time, hold on, and punch the other arm. So we're doing the same side. So we're going down to the ankle and then up on a diagonal. Or if you don't want to hold on, you're just punching down and up, down and up. And you're noticing that I'm shifting my weight as I'm doing this. So as I'm moving, I'm shifting my weight towards the side that I'm punching towards. So we're going to do one side first, like this. So you're doing, so I'm doing my left leg and then the right corner. So left leg, right corner, or wherever you are. We're going to do that a few times, and then we're going to switch to the other side. Now, if you're sitting down, exactly the same thing. You're opening those legs nice and wide, wider than your chair, ideally. And then sitting up tall, you're punching to the opposite leg, and then the other arm is going to punch up in the opposite direction. So you're kind of drawing a diagonal, if you will. So you're punching down, punching up, punching down, punching up. Okay? So wherever you are, join me here. We're doing 10 on this side. Here we go. 1. If you're standing, same thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, nicely done. 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, 1 more, 10, and rest for a second. Okay. So now that we've done one side, we got to do the same thing on the other side. Now on the other side, I'm going to stand because I did the first side in sitting. So I will now do the standing version to show you. But remember, if you're sitting, exactly the same thing. So on this side, we're taking our other hand now. So the hand that was punching up is now going to go down, and the hand that was punching down is now going to go up. So it looks like this. Punching down to the opposite leg, then I'm punching up to the opposite leg as well. Can you see that? So I'm going down and up, down and up, and I'm shifting my weight as I'm doing that as well. So let's do 10 on this side together. Remember, the legs need to be wide. If the legs are too close, you won't really get a diagonal. Instead, you'll just get an up and down motion. So if the legs are wider, you can actually get a diagonal. Okay, are we ready? So if you're sitting, exactly the same thing. Here we go. We're going to do 10. 1, 2, 3. Really extend the arm fully. 4, punch as hard as you can. 5, twisting your body. 6, drawing that diagonal line. 7, pivoting your weight. 8, 2 more. 9. Last one. 10. And rest. Okay, nicely done. Now, coming back to have our feet about hip width apart, holding onto the chair. We're now going to step back and circle the same arm as leg back around like this as you look at the back wall. If I turn to the side, this is what it looks like. Same arm and leg. Step back, reach all the way around. Same on the other side. Step back, reach all the way around. So when you're stepping back, try not to do a little step like this. You want to try to step back as far as you can, and you're kind of twisting your body a little bit as you're doing this. Now, if you're sitting, same thing, at the very edge of your seat, so not like this, because then you won't have any room to move. But if you sit forward, keeping your spine stacked on top of your pelvis, exactly the same thing. One of your legs is going to move back. You're going to circle the arm. Let your gaze follow. So let your eyes follow the movement. Exactly the same thing, like that. Okay? So hopefully you've started. So it doesn't matter what version you're doing, whether you're standing or sitting. We are trying to step back as far as you can, shift the weight back, circle the arm, let the gaze follow, try to keep your balance as your gaze is looking backwards. A little bit of rotation for you here, and a bit of a balance challenge if you're letting your gaze follow. So if you're sitting, hopefully you're still with us doing the same thing, just in sitting, keeping that spine nice and long. Don't let yourself slouch in the chair. You want to keep that spine stacked on top of your hips. Nicely done. So remember, if you feel like I'm doing this a little too fast for you, don't worry. You can feel free to slow it down. As long as you're still stepping back as far as you can, circling the arm, reaching the arm, opening the fingers, letting your gaze follow. Keep going. I'm just going to come and see if there are any comments. Nope, all good. Okay, keep going. Nicely done. Wherever you are, let's do last 10. 9. 8. How far can you reach that arm? How far can you step back? 7. 6. Let your gaze follow. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And rest for a second. Okay. So our next one, we're building on the exercise we just did. So I'm going to show you the standing version first, and then I'll show you the seated version. Now, if you are standing, you're going to put your chair to one side, or the table or the wall, whatever you're holding on to, just on one side so you have some room. You're going to hold on to the chair or table, and the leg that's on the outside is going to now step back as far as you can, and you're going to reach that same arm in the opposite direction. And then from here, you're going to take that back leg and you're going to kick it forward and reach the arm back. So let me turn sideways and show you. So it looks like this. Stepping back as far as you can, reach the same arm in the opposite direction. Then you're going to stand up and kick forward and reach the other arm back. So it looks like this. Step back and kick. So we're doing one side only. Step back and kick. Now keep going. If you are sitting, you're sitting at the very front of the seat. Let me turn sideways actually, because you can see that better. So you're sitting forward in the seat. We don't want to be leaning back. We want to sit forward. From here, you're taking your leg and you're stepping it back as far as you can. and you're reaching, leaning forward and reaching the same arm forward, and then take that leg and you're gonna kick it back and take your arm and bring it back behind you. Lean back without leaning onto the chair. So even though you're going backwards, you're not actually touching the chair. So again, step back, lean forward, and kick, lean back. Okay, so we're doing the same side. You want the movement to be as big as you can, taking up as much room as you can. Keep it going. So same side, whether you're standing or sitting, we're doing the same side. Nicely done. Make sure your fingers and hand are open. Let me move back a tiny bit. I'm moving my rug here. Good, nicely done. So same side. Whether you're standing or sitting, same side. Let's do last 5 here. Here's 5. 4. 3. 2. Last 1. And rest for a second. We're going to switch over to the other side. So on the other side, same thing. Stepping back as far as you can, reaching the same arm in the opposite direction, spreading those fingers. Then you kick and reach the arm back. So lean forward, step back, kick forward, lean back. If you're sitting, exactly the same thing. Sitting at the very edge of your seat, step back, lean forward, kick, lean back without touching the chair. Step forward, or sorry, step back, lean forward, kick, and reach back, okay? So whether you're standing or sitting, you're doing exactly the same thing, but I'm now demonstrating in sitting because the last round I demonstrated in standing, so I will join the seated folks here. But if you're standing, please keep going. Exactly the same thing, and you're stepping back as far as you can. So you want to step back so much that you actually move backwards, right? We don't want to be on the spot, because if I'm doing it on the spot, can you see I'm barely moving? You want to think about your chest actually moving. So see, I'm actually moving. I'm actually moving my body forward and back. Okay, keep going. I tend to talk a little too much in these classes, so it might be distracting. I'm going to remember to let you have some quiet time so you can actually practice. Check in with your posture. Are you opening the hand? Are you still sitting up nice and tall? If you're standing, how far are you stepping? How far are you reaching? Nicely done. So remember, if I'm going too fast, don't worry, slow it down. Let's do 5 more here. We go 5. 4. 3. 2. Last 1. And rest. Okay. Okay, now in standing, holding onto your chair, let me turn sideways. We're going to take one of your legs back as far as you can. You're going to bend the front knee and straighten the back knee. So you're trying to reach that back heel towards the floor, and you should feel a stretch in the back calf. If you don't feel it, step your leg back further. But essentially, you're trying to bend that front knee, lean your weight forward, keeping that back knee straight and the heel reaching to the floor. If you're sitting, sit forward, slide the leg forward on the floor, bring the toes up as far as you can with the knee straight. and you should feel a stretch in the back of the calf, or if you don't, grab a towel, wrap it around the bottom of your foot and pull the toes up towards you even more. Okay, holding it wherever you are sitting or standing, keep holding that position. And then let's switch to the other side. If you're standing, you were like this, now you're switching sides. So same thing here, if you're standing, you're bending that front knee and you're straightening the back knee. Reach that heel towards the floor. If you're sitting, pulling those toes up towards you here. Chest up, holding it here. And we're gonna switch sides again. We're gonna do one more on each side. Stepping the leg back, bending the front knee, straightening the back knee, reach that heel to the floor. And coming back one more time on the other side. So if you're sitting, you're also doing exactly the same thing. Just slide the leg forward, pull the toes up towards you. Holding it here, reach that back heel down towards the floor, straighten that back knee. And coming back in. Now I'm going to turn to face you. From here, you're going to separate those legs wider than your chair if you can. Then you're going to take your hand and you're going to bring it to one knee. So you're bending one knee, keeping the other knee straight, sticking your bottom back behind you. So from the side, we're sticking our bottom back behind us like this, sticking the bottom back behind you, and you should feel it in the inner thigh on one of your legs, like that. If you're sitting down, you can either sit forward, have one leg out, and you lean forward with that leg straight, or an easier version is actually just to push both knees out, and you should feel it in the inner thighs. So wherever you are, hold that stretch. You might want to move your body around a little bit to get the right location as well. Sometimes you can lean forward more, stick your bottom back further. You can feel it more. Or if you're sitting down, sometimes you find sitting up straight, pushing the legs out a little bit more effective. So you can play around with that there. Coming back up, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you're standing up, you're leaning to the opposite side, keeping the other leg straight, stick your bottom back. If you're sitting, you're going right back into both of those knees being pushed out, and you're leaning forward with your spine straight. Good. Make sure you're breathing in the stretches, not holding our breath. Coming back up, we're going to do one more each side. Again, we're leaning over to the side. If you're standing, remember you're leaning your chest forward and you're sticking your bottom back. If you're sitting, you're going right back into both of those knees being pushed out, spine straight, leaning forward. And coming back up, last time to the other side. If you're sitting down, this is your fourth and final stretch with those knees pushing out. Nicely done. And coming back up. Now, if you're standing, you're going to bring one of your legs forward, heel forward like this, bending your knee, the back knee, so like this. Bring one leg forward, bending the back knee, keep the front knee straight, and you're going to lean forward as much as you can to feel it at the back of the thigh here. If you're sitting down, same thing, slide the leg forward, except unlike the stretch for your calf where you're pulling the toes up, for this one, you're leaning your body down towards the heel as much as you can, or towards the ankle like this. And you should feel it underneath your thigh muscles. So keep going wherever you are. If you keep your spine as straight as you can, So rather than rounding the spine, if you keep your spine as straight as you can and then you go down, you feel it a bit more. And coming back up, let's switch sides, exactly the same on the other side, whether you're sitting or standing. So remember, if you're sitting, leaning forward over that straight knee. So from the side, keep going like that to feel the stretch at the back of the thigh. If you're standing, pretty much the same like that. Coming back up, one more time each side, other leg in, leaning forward if you're sitting down over that straight knee, or if you're standing, same thing, leaning forward over that straight knee. Coming back up, last time to the other side, last time. Leaning forward. And coming back up. Now we're going to do a thigh stretch. If you're standing, you have two options here. Hold onto a wall or a table, something sturdy. And you can either grab hold of your foot and pull it up towards your bottom, keeping the knees in, pushing the hips forward if you're extra flexible. Or you can place the leg back on something like a chair or a stool or a coffee table even, and then you're bringing those knees together, pushing the hips forward. As long as that knee is not in front, it's okay. It can be either in line or behind, and push those hips forward, and you should feel it in the thigh muscle. If you're sitting down, same thing, except what you're gonna do here is you're sitting all the way forward in the seat, bring one leg back as far as you can, send that kneecap towards the floor and lean back. So you're really trying to pull that kneecap towards the floor while leaning back. So you flatten the front of your hip, and you should feel that stretch in the thigh as well, holding it here. And coming back up, same to the other side. If you're standing, hold on to the foot, pull it in, or place it on something behind you, push the hips forward. If you're sitting, same thing, bring the leg back, send the knee towards the floor and lean back. And we turn to the other side. Like this, leg back, bring the knee towards the floor, point the knee down, lean back. So this entire side is completely flat. That's what you're aiming for here. Good. We're gonna come back up and repeat the same thing on the other side. So again, if you're standing, holding on, pulling it in, or putting the leg back on something and push the hips forward. If you're sitting down, leg back, point the knee down to the floor, lean back and feel that stretch in your thigh. Whichever version works for you is absolutely fine, holding it there. And release. Last time to the other side, exactly the same thing, whether you're standing or sitting. Last time. Remember to push the hips forward. You're really flattening the front of your hips as much as you can. And rest. We're going to come back into a seated position. We're going to take our hand, reach the opposite side of the knee again, and we're going to take the other hand, wrap around the chair, and you're twisting yourself around. We're aiming for the rotation stretch that we did at the beginning again, sitting up nice and tall. So everybody should be seated for this. And just check in with yourself and see if you're able to now twist a little further than you were at the beginning. Come back to neutral, same to the other side. Take your hand to the outside of the opposite leg. The other arm is going to wrap around the chair, twisting yourself around, sitting nice and tall. Check in with yourself and see if you're now twisting around more than you did at the beginning.
Come back around, reach those arms out to the side, tipping yourself down so that you're reaching your fingertips to the floor and the other side is reaching up to the ceiling. Check in with yourself and see if you're now twisting a little further or tipping a little further. Shoulders away from the ears. Coming back up, same to the other side, tipping all the way down so that you're reaching one hand to the floor and the other hand to the ceiling, shoulders away from the ears. Coming back up, rest the arms. We're gonna do a big sweep down, cross the arms, reaching up overhead, opening the arms, opening the chest like you're doing a big yawn. Again, scooping down, lifting up, opening the chest, opening the arms. Good, one last one. Scooping down, lifting up, open the arms, open the chest, and rest. You are done. That's it. That's the end of our stretch and strengthen exercise series. I hope you've all had fun. And I look forward to seeing you guys for our future classes. So definitely have a look on our website. If you want to sign up for any of our fall or winter offerings, have a look there. And just like always, if you have questions about anything, you're welcome to drop me an email at info@parkinson.bc.ca. And you're welcome to email us with questions or with any suggestions of classes you would like to see in the future as well. Thank you guys for the lovely comments. I can see you typing there. Thank you very much for joining us for the series. Keep your eye out for the recording and for our future classes. Okay, great, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you next time. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the lovely comments. Great to see you all. See you again later. Bye. Have a good weekend.